You're listening to the Last Man In podcast. Covering Winnipeg hockey and the NHL.
Scheifele dances his way in. Scheifele scores! Blake Wheeler finds the far corner. And the Winnipeg Jets win it in overtime.
Woo, woo, woo.
After months of speculation, the Las Vegas Golden Knights finally have a fully drafted team through the expansion draft for the first one that we've really seen since 2000, since the year 2000, I believe. So on today's episode of Last Man In Podcast, episode 150, we've done it. We've made it. Another 50 episodes.
150. 3-year anniversary.
Really is.
Draft day.
We've made some awful decisions. That is a nice buzzing sound that we have in the
That
background.
would be our hot water.
Can we turn it off? Do we need hot water? You don't need hot water.
We have to do the dishes because we don't have dishwashers, so we
What?
unfortunately need hot
Oh my god.
So here-
Wait, hold on.
You're going to have to put up with that for the next minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
Wait, hold on. Before this, you're supposed to clean cars with hot water? Because whenever the car wash I go to, they say no hot water. So I only use cold water.
I just use the sprayer.
Yeah.
And it says hot rinse.
Well, no, I understand.
It's a warm
No,
rinse.
this one's cold. Like it's
Oh, okay.
It's
Interesting.
like
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, so today on the episode for Last Man In, episode 150, talking about the expansion draft, who the teams protected, kind of just the surprises, touch on everything, because there's a lot to talk about on the show because we've been off for about a week and a half.
10 days.
So a week and a half.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a week and a half. Yep.
So talk about the protection list, talk about the full expansion draft, how it affected the Winnipeg Jets, along with every single pick, comparing to kind of what we drafted, because we all kind of drafted our own teams as well, kind of like what everyone else did. And I just kind of want to compare it to what we did. And then obviously talk about the influx of trades that have happened, because it's been pretty crazy over the last couple weeks, or over really just the last couple days even, has been pretty intense with everything that's happened. And then talk about what happened tonight at the NHL entry draft, and then move into the awards, which doesn't really matter, the new Adidas jerseys, as well as talk about some other miscellaneous stuff. So probably first and foremost, the protection list came out Sunday morning, a little bit later than what they were supposed to. Apparently,
they threw like a last-minute curveball.
Yeah, well, I think there was actually a bug with the NHL. They couldn't they couldn't give them all out. And I think it was supposed to come out at 11 Eastern. It didn't come out till like 2 Eastern, I think. So fans were a little bit upset, but...
No, I think it was just like half an hour difference.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be at 9. I think it was at 9:30.
Oh, okay. Regardless.
Anyways.
What we found out was finally, for the Winnipeg Jets, something that we talked about on this podcast all year long, was Tobias Enstrom finally waived his no-move clause. However, there were some rumors that said if he waived his no-move clause, then he would also be signing an extension on top of it. So, other than Enstrom not being protected, any other picks, any other non-protected guys you guys were surprised about? And I'll go with Cam first.
Just in general?
Just in general, like if you look at all the teams, kind of who were the big notable names that you
Oh,
would say?
not like guys
that
who were
weren't-
left available.
Exactly. That weren't protected.
Peter Mrazek, I think that
That
surprised
one
me.
really surprised me.
But then we found out later on that it was because of attitude issues. So, apart from Peter Mrazek, personally, I was a little bummed Flyers chose to not protect Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, because the moment I saw his name on the list, I was like, he's getting taken for sure, I think. Just because he holds more value to me, personally at least. I like Bellemare more than Jordan Wheel and Scott Lawton, which Scott Lawton was a player they chose to protect over Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. With a younger guy, makes sense. Other than that, I didn't think I was surprised that the Preds chose to not protect James Neal, but it's because of their defensive situation that they had to not protect him. Like, they had to leave him available.
Well, and they also, like, the big rumor, sorry to interrupt you,
Nope,
but
it's fine.
the big rumor going into it was Calle Jarnkrok was going to be the guy they weren't going to protect. That was kind of the guy left off because a lot of people had James Neal being protected. And I think what happened was Calle Jarnkrok really, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs, really showed his value to Nashville. And I think David Poyle looked at it and they said, we might not be able to re-sign James Neal next season. But Calle Jarnkrok is a guy that we can put into this core and let him grow with this core.
And we know he has power, like he has possessive powers of being possessed in the Stanley Cup final where he forgets how to score. and doesn't know
Sure.
what he's doing at that point.
From what I've read, though, they tried really hard to get a deal made with Vegas to not
Take James Neal.
for them to not take James Neal, but Vegas wouldn't bite on it. So
Yeah, it's
they tried, right? I
Vegas had a lot of
maybe
power.
they figured it would be easier to strike a deal to protect James Neal than Yarncroc, right?
the surprising names to me were on the New York Islanders protected list or not protected list, and those included Ryan Strome, which we'll get to, Calvin DeHaan and Thomas Hickey. I don't know if I just have a love affair with Calvin DeHaan and Thomas Hickey, but I believe they're very valuable 4, 5, 6 defensemen. They're not top 3 on your team, but they're going to be bottom guys, depth guys you need. And I'm very surprised because the Islanders protected 5 defensemen, and you're telling me Thomas Hickey and Calvin DeHaan aren't inside that top 5?
Their list was weird.
Their list was
They
extremely
left a lot
weird.
of decent forwards available. I get that they made
And
the side deal.
Exactly, but
But-
they left a lot out of the
Like
open.
Brock Nelson, they left open. Ryan Strome, they left open. Like these are guys that you shouldn't want to lose for nothing.
Exactly, and this there's a big Garth Snow thing that I want to get into once we get to the other news that happened with the Islanders, and I want to get to that hopefully soon, and then move on from that. But
Detroit's list surprised me for multiple reasons. Mrazek was surprising. The fact that they let Kronwall and Eriksson both unprotected surprised me.
I think they were somewhat okay with it.
But
Cronwall
considering
and Fisher were the only captains, I think, like current captains.
it
Off the top of my head.
it very much surprised me that those guys weren't protected. And they were just one of those teams too where they just had so many. They had too many guys to protect. Like I honestly thought Darren Helm was going to be the guy that got taken.
So did I. Well, actually,
I was pretty surprised that he
I
wasn't.
Didn't. I didn't take Derek Helm, I think.
But my expectation, and we'll talk about this later, going into it was that Vegas was going to take a team that was going to be competitive right now, and they clearly went the other way. So
Yes and no. And we'll get into it right away here, but the surprising ones to me, protected player was Matt Martin. I did not think there was a reason why the Leafs should have protected him when, they could have protected Brendan Leipzig, but that's fine.
also St. Louis, and it's going to tie into a trade that happened tonight, but they protected Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't get that
They
one
lost
either.
David Perron for nothing, and they just traded Ryan Reeves
Well,
away.
the Washington Capitals protected Tom Wilson, but when I found that out, like that same day, I also saw garbage can
Yeah, but-
fenced in and locked up. So I mean, people like protecting garbage from time to time, so that's okay.
And here comes
Field correspondent.
Mr. Puppy Dog.
Bruce.
There he is.
Hello, sir. Other than that, I didn't really see anybody that shocked me. Obviously, there were some trades that happened beforehand that shocked me a little bit more than the overall lists. Obviously, there was a reason why the Wild left Dumba open. There's a reason why the Ducks left both Vatanen and Manson open.
Were you guys surprised that Luongo was not protected?
No, because no one's taking that contract.
No one wants
I
the
guess.
contract. He's old.
But what does that send? What message does that send to him? Do you think he's happy there?
He
now?
knew he was going to be.
I get that, but
When Reimer was signed there, he knew that Reimer was the next, he was the transition plan. I think Reimer and Luongo are going to have equal games this year, to be honest. If Reimer can perform well enough, I could see him almost phasing out Luongo to the point where Luongo's a, $6 million? Is he $5 million? Or $6
I
million?
think he's 6 point
Something.
over 6.
Regardless, that much of a backup. They're going to transition James Reimer into that position if they believe that he's good enough, but, I'm just going through some of the picks here. So, I guess you want to move on to the Vegas actual team now. So before we touch on every single pick, before we touch on the Vegas team, the Jets made a side deal to make sure that both Tobias Enstrom and Marco Dano were protected. So they gave up a third-round pick in 2019, and they flipped their first rounder from being 13th overall to 24th. And we'll get into who they draft later, obviously. So the other side deals included the Islanders, so the Islanders protected their forward core and kind of forced Vegas' hand on who to draft there. The Lightning...
They gave up a...
Lightning used one too, right?
Yeah. The Islanders, I believe, gave them a first-round pick, Mikhail Grabovski, and a prospect.
Okay, here, I got all of them. So, for the Duck, I'll just go in team order. So, Anaheim, for the Ducks, The Golden Knights will select Clayton Stoner instead of Josh Manson or Sammy Vadden, and in return, Anaheim will give them Shea Theodore.
Which is probably the better of the three. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Shea Theodore is probably the best of the three.
But see, we're saying that he's the youngest of all of them, I think.
Yeah, he is.
But we're also probably more prone
20
to
years
it
old.
because we've seen him play with Seattle Thunderbirds. Like, we hear more about him out based out of Winnipeg than we would have from Vatanen and Manson.
And the other truth is I don't think you really if you're Anaheim, you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, we have to lose a guy. Truth be told, they're in cap hell because of Getzlav, Perry, Bieksa, and Kessler contracts. Like they're expensive contracts. So being able to get a $3.5 million Clayton Stoner contract off your books is important, and I think it's going to help your team.
And ironically enough, they just filled that $3 million gap tonight.
With Patrick Eaves.
Re-signed Patrick Eaves to a 3-year deal worth $3.1.
You mean the guy who's worth a first-round pick? Yeah. Patrick
He
Eaves.
scored 30 goals this year.
Yeah, but like 2/3, like
splitting
20
the
of
year
them were
playing
with Dallas.
He played with Jamie Benn-Tyler Seguin for 3/4 of the year.
exactly.
And then played with Ryan Getzlaff and Corey Perry for the rest of the year, but that's not
So then from the Ducks, I'll go to Chicago. Vegas will select Marcus Kruger, and in return, Chicago will give them Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
That didn't happen.
That didn't actually happen.
No, it didn't.
No,
Who did Chicago take?
It was the other way around.
No, it was...
Chicago takes Trevor Van Riemsdyk. They were going to get Marcus Kruger.
Well, Chicago...
but
okay, yeah.
But the Knights opted to just take...
Trevor Van
take-
Riemsdyk.
Okay, so
Trevor Van
I
Riemsdyk?
have the full list here, going alphabetically. So why
Yeah,
I'll just do it.
Okay.
I'll just go team by team, player by player here.
Do it.
So the Anaheim Ducks, from the Anaheim Ducks, the Vegas Golden Knights got Clayton Stoner. I'm just going to go in order. I know you already said this, but Clayton Stoner and Shea Theodore. Then from the Arizona Coyotes, Timo Pukkanen, which is the guy that we talked about last year that Detroit put on waivers. Then he went to Minnesota, and then I believe did he finish the year in Minnesota?
No, he went somewhere else.
Oh, he went to Arizona, obviously, because he got claimed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really thought, don't ask me why, but I thought they were going to take Burmy.
I thought Timo Pukkanen was the best of that.
I didn't even see him on their list, so that's...
He was who I picked, to be honest.
By the
When
way,
I made my team, I took Burmese Trout.
just so we know, Luongo's 4.533 cap hit.
Oh, okay. That's
So
not
not
as bad as I thought he was. Okay. Boston Bruins. From the Boston Bruins, they took Colin Miller. Probably the best option they had. That's who I picked in mine. Then with the Buffalo Sabres, they took William Carrier. The Golden Knights also receive a 6th-round pick for that. Then Calgary Flames, they took Derek Engelland, which...
Vegas guy.
Hold on. UFA Derek Engelland.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And
When
they
there's
signed
Hunter Shinkaruk. Hunter Shinkaruk.
You
They
could
also-
take anyone.
Yeah.
That's not a UFA, and then they had a
Yeah.
specific UFA signing period.
I don't know.
Sign him then.
But they
signed him because
already
he's a
signed him.
Las Vegas native.
Yeah.
So that's you're gonna sell
Just
seats
shows
of
that
Derek
they're
Engelland.
they're not going for the win now.
I don't really know. This roster to me is like a jumble of like good decisions and bad decisions. It was almost like halfway through, Jim Benning started filling out his own list. Like it's like George McPhee made his, and then they're like, you know what? We'll pass Jim. We'll make half these picks, and then we'll call one random GM, and he'll make the rest. And that one random GM was Jim Benning.
When I was watching the draft, like I was sitting there, and it just got like it.
You mean all 3 hours of it?
It got to the point where, like, I was just so shocked by pick after pick that when they actually made a good pick, I totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
Like forget that they actually got a few of them good, but like
A lot
the
of
team
these
that they could have had and the team that they had are very different.
And obviously they're paid to do this, so they know a little bit more than we do. But at the same time, you look at, I'm one of those guys who looks at advanced numbers, and some of these advanced numbers are pretty bad, and I don't know why they went with them. It's one of the picks, which I'll get to, is just not a very strong pick for his advanced stats. But from the Carolina Hurricanes, they took Connor Brickley, and the Golden Knights also receive a 5th-round pick. Chicago Blackhawks, Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Colorado Avalanche goaltender Calvin Pickard. Not really a surprise there. That's kind of what everyone thought going into it. Columbus Blue Jackets forward William Karlsson. The Golden Knights will also receive a 2017 first-round pick, 2019 second-round pick, and the contract of David Clarkson. So, don't really know why the Blue Jackets gave up their first and a second and didn't try to protect
some of their decor. I think.
Because they didn't want them to select Josh Anderson, Jonas Corposalo, Jack Johnson, or Denny Savard.
I'm sorry, but I think William Karlsson is better than any of those guys. And I think your potential first-round pick is better than any of those guys. My personal opinion. Maybe Korpisalo, but I don't think Korpisalo is worth a first or a second. Like, in my opinion, at least. I think Korpisalo is a good goalie. I think he'll be a strong goalie in this league. But at the same time, I don't look at him and being like, he's worth using a first-round pick to protect. In my opinion.
The interesting thing with this draft is you kind of learned how organizations value their own guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And how it's a lot different than what the common perception of a lot of these players
Like,
is.
I think for a first and a second, I think that should include William Karlsson in my opinion, because I think William Karlsson is a strong, young forward in this league.
Isn't he defensive?
Definitely a forward.
Oh.
Yep. Centerman, I think.
Yeah.
No, he might be a winger.
Some teams made really weird decisions in this
Yeah.
expansion draft, but what Vegas found out is Vegas knows what everyone's plan is for the next 2 years. So even if their team that they picked isn't great, they know what every team's vision is for the next 2 years. So by doing that, based off of some guys that they drafted, which we'll continue to find out, they hold all the power because they'll be like, oh, well, we're going to take this guy and flip him to that team because that team is looking for a third-pairing defenseman that's a younger one, and look at that.
Quick note, though. I'm actually going to ask you guys a question. So these picks were divided out into 4 separate sections all across the 2017 NHL awards. Did you guys sit through that whole televised event?
Unfortunately,
2/3 of it.
Do you think they can do a better job of if they do an expansion draft in, let's say, 2019-2020 for the Seattle team that is not happening, but let's be honest, it's probably going to happen. How do you think they should do it differently? Because they're obviously going to do it during the NHL awards. Again, like, might as well boost those ratings because they're not the best. How do they do it differently? Because in my opinion, I felt it was way too choppy, and whether they can, put it in the middle of the evening or make it wait till the end of the evening. I understand why they chopped it into 4 separate sections. It's all for ratings, because if you have people staying on to watch it the whole time, you're having more eyeballs watch the ads, right? And that's what it's all about.
I personally felt like I was watching it. The only reason I watched was for the expansion draft. The awards I honestly didn't really care a whole lot about. And I just found that like Craig said, the gaps between were a little too much. I feel like it should just be its own thing, the expansion draft. You can do it the same day, but do it after.
I do agree with you. Oh, sorry for chopping you off there. I do agree that it was a little cut up and a little too it just all the momentum would stop. In between the awards, it's just oh yeah, George, it's your turn. Okay, Bobby or George McPhee, and I forget the other guy's name. And it's oh, I was supposed to read that guy, ha ha, and then it's oh, and Darren Millard, well, at least in the Canadian feed, Darren Millard and Catherine Tappan were the hosts of the awards. Well, the MCs, I guess you'd call them. Anyways, after every pick, they'd be oh, and that is the Las Vegas Golden Knights' 11th pick. Let's find out what their 12th pick is. That was their 12th pick. Let's go to the 13th pick. I'd rather have it almost, I don't know, yeah.
Alphabetically almost?
What do you mean?
Essentially what you say.
Do you know what I would have think that would have been cool? I personally, the whole MC thing, I didn't like it. What I thought they should have done is, obviously maybe they didn't have the time to do this, but maybe have the reveal laid out, and maybe you do you reveal one division at a time, and you do it in a video package, you have
that would have been much cooler.
You have the first guy come up and then have a little bit of his highlights, and then a stats board, and then the next guy you pick, and then the next guy, and maybe do Pacific picks, and then take a little break, and then do Central picks, and then do the other 2 divisions, and they should have in between each one, they should have all the guys come out with the jerseys on.
Well, and
that's way better than
that would be.
Dan's getting hired by the NHL.
That would take more time than just putting your list in at 8:00.
But maybe it deserves to be more time, because if they're trying to make it in, they could almost do it that way and make it into their own televised event that way, and I think that would. But
that's just such a to me that hypes it up.
It does.
The way that we did it was oh, okay, they picked that guy. Oh, okay.
Okay. Now after that short break, let's get back to the picks.
Go.
From Dallas Stars, they took.
Dallas Eakin.
Cody Eakin.
Winnipeg, boy!
There was
I
a
was
lot of
very
Winnipeg
excited.
boys.
I took Eakin out of my.
So, I know that advanced stats aren't the end-all be-all, and I do believe that Cody Eakin there is a solid NHL player somewhere in there, but his hero charts, which are just advanced stats charts, have him projected as a fourth-line center, making, I think it's close to $4 million a season. I don't know his exact cap hit,
So
but
do they flip him?
I don't know, but it's just, to me, originally when I looked at it, I said, yeah, Cody Eakin's the easiest guy to pick here. But I think when you dive deeper into the numbers, deep into his stats, they're not that strong, and he's honestly, when you look at Dallas, you only really think of two guys. They don't really have a ton of depth scoring, and really you'd think that if Cody Eakin was that great of a player, he would help contribute in the depth scoring role, because really he's not facing top lines every night. He's not facing shutdown lines. He's facing the running gun lines that are trying to score the same amount he's trying to score. So you'd think he'd be able to capitalize on that, and he's just not able to. So I think it's a questionable pick. Granted, they didn't have a lot. Dallas did not expose a ton, so
Maybe it also came to the point where they had all their other bases covered and they just had to take someone.
Well, they needed a center, I think, is what it came down to. Myself, personally, I would have taken Antti Niemi. He's got 1 year left on his contract. You've got a goalie that you could potentially flip later on in the season. If, let's say, hypothetically, Vancouver goes through this year's UFA and they don't have anyone, or Jakob Markstrom goes down with an injury, you all of a sudden have a drunk GM on the other end and Jim Benning. I'm just kidding. But you have Jim Benning on the other line that's going to be willing to listen. You have, let's say Frederick Anderson for the Leafs goes down long term. Now you have somebody listening on the other end. And I understand that by taking a guy like Niemi, you're almost saving Dallas from themselves because they have whatever it is, like $16 million locked up in goaltenders. But regardless, I don't like the Cody Eakin pick. From Detroit, they took Tomas Nozick. Don't really know anything about him.
Yeah, this was a shocker.
For a team that needed centers, I felt like Darren Helm was the guy.
To me, considering that some of the guys that were left available, this was a surprise to me.
Mm-hmm. From the Oilers, they took Griffin Reinhart. I didn't think this was much of a surprise. Didn't really leave anyone else. The Panthers, this one surprised me a lot. Jonathan Marchessault was who the Vegas Golden Knights picked, and then the Golden Knights traded their 4th-round pick in 2018 for Riley Smith, who had a breakout playoffs in 2015-16, so 2016 playoffs, and then had a 5-year contract, and I guess he didn't perform last year.
Well, he's got 4 years left at $5 million.
All I'm saying is I don't think the Panthers understood the rules, because they just gave away 2 top 6 forwards when they only had to lose 1.
And all they got in return was a 4th-round pick. So I don't know.
Who would they have taken? If they didn't give them Riley's, who did they lay off?
I think that was to protect Jason Demers, in my opinion, because there's so much talk around Jason Demers, and because they're trying to move Demers for something more valuable. So the way they probably looked at it is they said, you know what, we're going to lose $5 million off our cap. We can probably go out and sign somebody for that amount. We're going to lose a really good young forward in Marchessault. But at the same time, we can use Jonathan Demers, or I don't know his first name. Jason Demers, as a potential, move for pieces.
Are you really going to get that good of pieces for him? Would you not be better to just lose him to Vegas and keep 2 top 6 forwards?
I know, but
and honestly, they probably would have taken Marchessault anyways.
I think they would have anyways as well.
They gave away Riley Smith essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted to get rid of that contract because it was $5 million, and they're
guess,
going to have to pay.
He had a great year, and then he had 1 bad year, and they're already throwing the towel in on him.
And I think either way, I do think this expansion draft made the Panthers worse. I think you can look at it and you can really say they were worse from this, because unless they go out, they make a splash or make a few moves. Obviously, they're not scared to do it. Last year, they spent money on D. They've made moves in the past, but I think they need to keep going. Then you have, from the Kings, you have Braden McNabb, not a surprise there. Minnesota Wild, Eric Holla. They also acquire forward Alex Tuck for a 3rd-round pick. I think the other thing in this deal was to protect Matt Dumba.
I believe they signed Holla before the draft even happened, did they not?
That counted as
he was
pick.
He was in the RFA window where they talked to him and signed him.
Which I think Eric Holla is a solid second, third-line player.
I think that's one of their better picks.
I do. I agree. And I thought that's who they were going to take because I didn't think Dumba was really on the table. Montreal Canadiens, Alexei Emlem. This is because of a deal that we'll talk about, is why he was available.
Carey Price rejoices.
Yes, and like I didn't realize he was making as much money as he was, but I don't understand this pick when you have Houdon for Montreal. Like you have the ability to
Might
take
have been a part of that deal though. But
there's
then
nothing.
again,
There's no deal here.
there's
no
so
deal.
many.
They just took
Okay,
them.
So they
let's
just
talk
took
about this.
Emlyn.
I was talking to Dan about this earlier. There's so many players that were available that you're like, why would you take Emelin or Yemelin
Over Houdon.
over Houdon, who's like a burgeoning like young forward who could be pretty good? And like, I understand George McPhee has already been a GM in the league, but like this is kind of a fresh restart. I guess like he's still got a repertoire with like some other guys like friendliness. I wouldn't have any friends here. Unless you blew me out of the water with like, I will give you my first, so you do not touch those people, but you can still take one of these 5 people here. And it's like, I don't really like those 5 people, but you're giving me a first that's like the 23rd pick, we'll say as the example. We'll be like, okay, that's a first round pick for sure. But otherwise, if you don't blow me out of the water, I'm taking like every good guy. Like I'm not listening to Anaheim. I'll be like, nope, I'm going to take Sammy Vatt. You know, I might even just take...
I'm sure they had it in writing that they couldn't do that.
No. I'm saying, like, me personally, obviously I'm not a GM, so, you know. But, like, there's so many guys that, like, again, as you said and as we said right when we started, they're clearly just, like, prospect. It's going to be a long haul for this team. They're not... Because I thought, like, they could have had a team that could have been, like... Probably bottom 5, but not like absolutely horrendous.
The other thing too is they could have filled in some gaps with some other other players in free agency. Like they would have had the money to move.
I think Alexei Emelin is I don't think he'll be with Vegas very much longer.
No, neither do I.
I think they took him with the intention of getting something in return for him.
But there's going to be something I'll talk about Emelin when we get to trades. But from Nashville they took James Neal, as we talked about. New Jersey Devils, John Merrill. My pick was Scott Wedgwood. The reason why I picked Scott Wedgwood was because I felt they needed a goalie that was going to emerge. So they're going to have Calvin Pickard, who's probably going to be the starter there once Fleury's done. Then you'd probably need a guy like Scott Wedgwood, who's going to be an AHL starter and then move up into that backup role. And that's probably all Scott Wedgwood's going to be. Really, for a lot of teams, I think he's going to be a competent backup in a few years. That was my pick. New Jersey really didn't have much. From the Islanders, they took Jean-Francois Berube. The Golden Knights also acquired forward Mikhail Grabowski, who's on LTIR, I believe, and has a pretty fat contract. Defenseman Jake Bischoff, a first-round pick, which was number 15th overall, and a 2019 second-round pick. So that was to protect all their forward core that they left open. So as Dan said earlier, like Brock Nelson and Ryan Strome, who we will get to. From the New York Rangers, forward Oscar Lindbergh. No surprise there. I think the Rangers, once again, they made another deal. I don't know what that forward core is going to look like next year. Like they'll have Matt Zuccarello, and that's it.
Well, you'll find out why. Are we going to say right now?
No.
Okay.
We'll get to it. From the Ottawa Senators, defenseman Mark Methot, which was something I think Ottawa tried to protect against, but they really couldn't because
they had nothing to offer.
Exactly. Plus, Dion Phaneuf didn't want to waive his no trade clause. Which why would he?
I'd go for Freddie Claesson, but you want the leadership with Methot.
Exactly, and really, it doesn't matter how many fingers a guy has, he's still a solid defenseman. From the Philadelphia Flyers, as Cam said earlier, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Obviously, no surprise, the Pittsburgh Penguins the Vegas Knights select from the Pittsburgh Penguins Marc-Andre Fleury, and they also receive a 2020 second-round pick.
Wasn't that I don't know why they gave that pick away. That was a guarantee. Like that they gave them that pick to take Fleury.
Yeah.
That is the only guy they were going to ever take. Like maybe Hagelin, maybe
No.
Russ, but in comparison to Fleury, no way.
No,
chance.
you have a 3-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yep.
A guy who, if he kept playing, probably would have won the Conn Smythe this year. You have a guy who's been a solid starter for the last 10 years in the NHL. It's a no-brain pick. Plus, George McPhee knows. He was the GM of the Washington Capitals during the height of the Penguins-Capitals fight. You're not going to take him.
And
no
Fleury
GM in the league is not going to take it.
Fleury waived his no-trade clause
He
in
wants to
February
be there.
just for Vegas. He's like,
Exactly.
you know what? It's time. Pittsburgh's given me all he needed. I'll give back to them.
Then moving on to San Jose.
Which also explains why he didn't accept a trade at the deadline, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Select David Schlemko, who eventually does get traded, but we'll get to that. From the St. Louis Blues, David Perron. Tampa Bay Lightning, defenseman Jason Garrison. However, the Golden Knights also receive rights to forward Nikita Gusev, a 2017 second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick from Tampa Bay. And then the first round pick from Tampa Bay was transferred to Winnipeg as Winnipeg traded.
No, Columbus's first pick went.
It was Columbus's first pick. I thought it was Tampa's. Sorry. Then from Toronto, Brendan Leipsic. I love Leipsic, and it might be a Winnipeg bias thing. But every time he played in Toronto, whether it was for the when he played for Toronto, whether it was Marlies or Leafs, I never had an issue with him. It was the same with Brandon Kozun, who they had, undersized forward, but played big, and it's a shame. They have so many guys after him, though, and that's the thing. They have too many guys.
And any other year, pretty much, Leipzig probably would have been on the team, but because he had all the new kids come in, and no one got hurt. Like, no one.
No.
So he never even got a chance to prove it.
Yeah.
And so because of that, another Winnipeg boy. So now how many Winnipeg? We got 3 Winnipeg boys on this team.
You can,
if you count
Picard, and
if you
Leipzig.
count the draft, they have 5.
Well, we'll get there.
yeah, exactly. From Vancouver
No,
Canucks.
sorry, they have
4.
4.
From Vancouver Canucks, Lucas Pisa, not a surprise.
No, out of the park. Everyone knew that was happening.
Washington Capitals, Nate Schmidt, which is a surprise because Philip Grubauer's available, and everyone had him pegged as kind of the goalie you
Are
take.
you guys surprised though they only took 3 goalies?
Yes.
Because they thought they might take 5 or 6.
I want to get to that in a second. From the Jets to Chris Thorburn because they also swapped.
Yeah, that's right. Record scratch. What?
That just blew my mind.
When they were like, from Winnipeg, Chris Thorburn, now pause, unrestricted free agent, UFA.
Yeah.
What?
That means they didn't want anything else from Winnipeg.
And so when I saw that...
No, they wanted the first round pick. So they said, the way, I think personally, the way Vegas looked at it is they said, we'll get a first round pick, and this is better than anything else we're going to get from that roster. Not that the Winnipeg roster is bad, but Winnipeg went to great lengths to protect Tobias Enstrom because if he's not protected, that's who you take if you're Vegas. You need the cap. He only has 1 year left. You could flip under the deadline, absorb some contract. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, they have so much mobility. That would have been the guy to take, and obviously I think they look at this and they say, we got a first round pick, 15th overall. Now we have 3 in the first round, which is fantastic if I'm Vegas.
But the thing that's weird is that the Jets didn't lose a first round pick and Vegas didn't gain one. They just flipped the position.
So we didn't say that. What happened? They took Thorburn.
Columbus
why did they
gave Vegas a first round pick, and they flipped picks with the Jets.
Yeah.
So the Jets,
dropped
13th?
from 13th to 24th.
Got it.
But from what I've read, the Jets, everyone thought Mark O'Donnell would be the guy that they was going to get taken. Yep. The Jets didn't want him to go. So this deal was to protect him too. Yeah. The deal they made was so that Vegas didn't take a roster player. That was the deal. That's why they took Thorburn.
Okay.
The deal was
makes sense.
The deal was the Jets didn't want to lose a roster player. So whether Vegas didn't think Daniel was worth, maybe they figured that they could get something for a first round pick that's worth that. I don't know. I also heard that they apparently were trying to swing Joel Armia as the guy that they wanted to not take Toby Enstrom. I don't know how true that was. That was something that was floating around.
What do you mean?
Like,
Vegas
you
said,
take Joel Armia.
Vegas said if you want to protect Toby, then we want Joel Armia.
Oh.
Which, at that point, then why wouldn't you have just protected Enstrom in the first place?
But allegedly, Cheveldayoff said that they did not protect Toby. They did not make a deal to protect him. He just let it happen.
Can Chevy just once be fun?
But I mean,
once.
Directly they didn't make a deal, but then they did make the deal saying, "Don't take a roster player. We'll give you a 3rd round pick, and you guys can move up in the 1st round."
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
When Thorburn got taken, I follow a lot of Jets fans and just Jets writers. Everyone was like, "What? What year is it?"
Does he get signed?
No, get Audi.
He'll go to some team for $900,000, score miraculously 15 goals next year, and
he'll be the next Ron Hainsey.
Who's the 4th line center in New York? Does his last name start with an S?
Oh my God!
GST back together, baby.
Do it.
I'd support that in New York. No, I wouldn't.
But they're also not going to win. You know who they're not going to have as an S?
We'll find out.
Is Derek Stepan. But we'll get to that because I want to start with the first trade to crazy season, and it was all kicked off last week.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
So this is just a breakdown for the team that they drafted.
We'll stay there
on Wednesday.
They've
already changed, but this is as of Wednesday night. Total salary cap $54.8 million. Average age 27.6.
Salary cap's gonna be 75 next year.
Cap. Yeah. NHL games of experience 8,420. Stanley Cup rings 4.
Okay.
So Fleury's got 3.
Fleury's got 3.
Who's got the other one? Oh, the real deal.
Did
James Neal got one?
No.
No.
So what's that other one? I don't know the answer. I'm no, this isn't a quiz
Let me
here.
think.
Braden McNabb.
Oh yes, with the LA
with the LA
Kings.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, and during the draft when they unveiled like the jerseys, but also with like the players and whatnot, there were 4 players like actually in attendance. It was Brady McNabb, Marc-Andre Fleury, Jason Garrison, and Derek Engelland. So I fully expect that those guys will not be moved, whatsoever.
No.
So now the
Considering
fun stuff happens.
Considering those are the guys that showed up with their jerseys on.
No,
So
that's what I'm talking about.
the
Yeah.
fun stuff actually happened before the expansion draft, but I want to get the expansion draft first. It was more fun that way. The first trade that started off silly season was Mike Smith of the Arizona Coyotes got traded to the Flames for Chad Johnson. Now there are other parts to this deal which I don't have listed here, but essentially it was perennial backup Chad Johnson for perennial starter Mike Smith. So you have it here on tape.
Calgary
Fills
received
the
Mike
need.
Smith.
Yeah.
And what Arizona got was a 3rd-round conditional pick, defenseman Brandon Hickey, and goalie Chad Johnson.
Don't really know anything about Brandon Hickey or whether or not what he'll turn
Relation
into.
to Thomas Hickey?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. And then,
Fills a need for Calgary.
Well, are we going oldest to newest?
yeah.
Then you missed.
So you want me to say the best
No.
one?
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because we have to.
'Kay.
We have to.
'Kay.
I have to. Let's just talk about everything Montreal did.
'Kay.
How about we do that?
Can I start with the big one? The big one.
We'll start with the big one.
Okay, so Montreal acquired Jonathan Drouin and a 2018 6th-round conditional pick. Ignore these conditional picks. It was a 1-for-1, basically. Because the condition... Oh, with Tampa Bay, obviously, for defensemen, huge prospect coming in, Mikhail Sergachev and a 2018 conditional 2nd-round pick. Now, the condition on the Montreal is that Sergachev plays 40 games next year. It's probably going to happen. I'm not going to lie.
So a 6th rounder would go to
Yeah,
Montreal.
and now Drouin needed a new contract. So within like an hour, I think he was still in the airplane when he signed this deal. 6 years, $33 million, 5.5 per.
Yeah.
5.5 per Drouin.
What's the condition on the 2nd pick?
Oh, on the 2nd-round pick, I'm not sure what that condition is,
Okay.
but basically they're going to null each other out, so they're both getting those picks.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like
So
Yeah,
essentially,
one for one.
Montreal was like, "Hey, we'll give you our best defensive prospect,
Even though we still
a
need
second,
D."
and a second player for." Okay, so this is what Montreal turned around and they did Nathan Beaulieu for a 3rd-round pick. Then, not to be outdone, they're like,
Oh wait, where did they trade Nathan Beaulieu to?
to division rival Buffalo Sabres.
Because they were like, well, we couldn't protect him, so
Yeah.
why don't we just trade him to division rivals, right?
Exactly.
That makes sense. What?
Totally.
Come on.
Smarter than losing him for nothing.
Then
I'm with Dan on that. I'm with Dan on you're not
It's not a great move, but losing him for nothing
Okay.
is worse.
Then they lose Alex Amlin in the expansion draft. Then they go around yesterday and get Dave Schlemko from the from the Vegas Knights for a 5th-round pick. Now, to essentially say this, they traded for Jonathan Drouin, David Schlemko. They've lost Nathan Beaulieu and Mikhail Sergachev and Alex Amlin. They have lost 3 roster defensemen and 2 of them are under 25. You want to keep Carey Price? You want to keep Carey Price.
but
You
you
want to
got-
keep him? So you have to have defensemen that are not prehistoric dinosaurs. Weber, old. Emlyn, old. Markov, old.
Schlemko.
Old.
Yeah, no.
They're all old.
They
This
got the
team is
one-man
old.
traveling snipe show, David Schlemko. So
The other thing is,
Don't worry
if
about
I'm Radulov, how am I going in and being like, hey, I want to sign here next year? Because if I'm him, I'm like, fuck that. I want to go play for Vegas.
Radulov, still not signed.
No.
Still not signed. Probably not signing.
No.
Probably not signing.
no, there's no way.
So, and now with Drouin, they have this issue with centermen that they don't have any. That's their issue. The one centerman they do have, they don't want to play there because they think he's not good enough.
They're
so
trying
they
to
wanna
shop
trade
him in Alex Galchenyuk.
And you know what? They'll probably trade him for another undersized winger. They'll be like, okay, we know. This is probably what the deal's going to be. They're like, hey, Edmonton, we really like what you're doing. We like undersized forwards. We see that you just got Ryan Strome. We'll take Nugent Hopkins, and we'll take back our garbage and David Desharnais because we really need another francophone to play on this team. So we'll take Nugent Hopkins and Desharnais for our 1st-round pick, And you know what? We probably have another AHL. You know what? Hodon is good. Let's give him away. They now have 0 graduated prospects from their AHL system with trading Nathan Beaulieu. So essentially what a graduated prospect means, they played in the AHL for so long and then moved up to the NHL. They have none. Most teams at least have 1 or 2. Joel Armia is 1. Nick Patan is 1. Connor Hellebuck is 1. If I'm just talking about the Jets, that's only 3 players I can think of right now, but there's probably
Shakes.
Shifley.
more. Not Shifley.
Shifley,
because he never
come on.
played
He
in the
played
AHL.
like
He
6
did
games.
for a playoff run.
Doesn't
6
matter.
games.
Doesn't
Get
matter.
out of here.
That's not a graduated player.
Morrissey.
That's
Shakes.
not a graduated player.
So Morrissey.
There's probably more that I'm not thinking of right
Yeah.
now.
Either,
But to be
right
honest,
off the top of our head, 4.
4. And right now Montreal has 0, which means their drafting is terrible. And they have now traded away Nathan Beaulieu, who I believe... Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Boom,
sorry.
baby.
Who was a top... he was a first-round pick, and then you also have Sergachev, first-round pick, PK Subban, second-round pick. Their top defensemen, who were all under 30, are now all gone. If you looked 2 years ago and you said who are going to be the best 3 defensemen in 5 years in Montreal, you were going to say Mikhail Sergachev, most likely Nathan Beaulieu, at least I was going to, and PK Subban. They're all gone. Marc Bergevin is insane. And I am so happy as a Toronto Maple Leaf fan that he's in my division. What I don't like is the fact that he's trading these tremendous players to divisional opponents. You know what Buffalo doesn't need? Better defensemen. Don't give them better defensemen because their defensemen suck. Don't give them good D.
Wait, before you go even
okay.
more. Wait.
I've
So,
got 5 more Jets that are graduated.
well, we know. We got 10. Go.
Yeah.
Rattle them off.
Pavlik.
Go.
Did he start in the minors?
Well,
You
yeah.
wanna
Chicago
call it
Wolves.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Paul Postma.
Boom.
Ben Sherratt.
Bama.
Toby Enstrom. Brian Little.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, that's what I
going
mean.
back to the Thrasher days, but
Okay, wait. So in the press
drafted by the team.
Yeah.
all
Moved
of
up.
Okay, Bergevin in the press conference said when they got the Drouin press conference when they got him, he was like, "I told you guys to expect the unexpected." Well, on my Twitter feed, I saw a certain like a mock interaction. Can you play the role? I need someone to play the role of Trevor Linden.
I'll play the role of Trevor Linden.
Okay,
Do it.
I'll be Jim Benning, and
Okay.
I'm calling.
Oh,
It's I got to make the phone call, so
Okay.
I'll go see if Jimmy's here.
okay.
Trevor, we're gonna call Mark. You're telling me he makes real questionable, shitty trades. Let's give him a call.
Okay.
Bring, bring. Oh, Dan, you gotta be Marc Bergevin.
Okay.
Sound French. Ring, 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 ring.
Hello?
Just
Hey, Mark, it's Jimmy. Trevor told me you're making real shitty trades. I mean, do you want to make a trade? That's all I read. It's just ridiculous. Because how terrible. Like, he's...
why did it have to be Trevor Linden? I didn't say anything.
I forgot to tell you your line. You were supposed to say Trevor from the other room. I didn't tell you to tell him he makes shitty trades.
Oh.
That got us nowhere.
Yeah.
I just
No,
thought it was
that
funny.
did.
We stopped.
But unbelievable. Like, just the moves that Bergevin is doing. Expect the unexpected. Yeah, you're a fucking
Okay,
idiot.
so-
Pardon my language, but you're dumb. What are you doing?
I know I'm
He's
just...
also the same guy that on draft day last year said we're never trading PK Subban and traded PK Subban 3 days later.
Okay, so here's the other thing about Marc Bergevin.
well.
I know I never played high-level hockey. I know that. I've come to terms with it. But I understand hockey at levels I
Wait.
don't think Marc Bergevin can understand hockey.
Wait, Greg, you never played hockey at high levels?
No.
Dan, did you?
I play with Greg, so no.
Oh, I didn't even play hockey. I don't think we're allowed to do a podcast.
No, I don't
right
think
now.
we are either. Because our
We're
opinion's
done.
invalid,
We're done.
right?
We're out. Yeah.
Regardless of that stupid opinion of that some people have, oh, you didn't play, you don't get it. No, I understand the game. Regardless of that, you're taking fantastic players and you're flipping... Like, I went back recently. I was sick again, as you guys mentioned last week. I was sick. So what I did is I went back and I went to when PK Subban got traded and our reactions. And Dan said he didn't mind the trade. I said from an analytics point of view, the Subban trade was a steal for the Nashville Predators. And I think Cam agreed.
I remember saying, like, I agreed with both of
Yeah.
you, but one-on-one, I'm more scared of
Okay.
Weber. I
So-
know I said that.
Here's the other thing. Weber might have the hardest shot, but the other factor that a lot of people were afraid of with PK Subban was, he turns the puck over a lot. PK Subban had 668 more puck touches in that season before he was traded than Shea Weber, and turned the puck over on average 0.02% or 0.02% more than Shea Weber did in 668 less touches.
I just think PK had a case of when he turned the puck over, it was like a game-winning goal.
I understand. Yeah.
or
Well, there was that
something
one
like that.
time. There was that one time. But regardless of that, I look at what Marc Bergevin has done from even just the last 2 years. If I'm Max Pacioretty, the Galchenyuk deal hasn't happened yet. Let's say they go into the season with this lineup, which I don't think they will. If I'm Pacioretty, if I'm Carey Price, I'm not signing there. Even Radulov, I'm not signing there. This is their 1 year to go all in, because after this year, they have to put a deal down for Carey Price that is starting with double digits. If I'm sorry, like it's $10 or $11 million a season, period. It might be more, might be 12. Like honestly, this is their last year to go for it, and I understand some of the, I understand the Drouin move because they know what Drouin is, and he could be a lot better. But you didn't get a centerman for your best defensive prospect that is probably going to be in the NHL next season. I look at Tampa Bay's decor. They have a decent decor. They just lost Jason Garrison, however, which honestly might just have made room for Sergachev, who's a left-handed defenseman, and Garrison's left-handed defenseman. So that might be where Sergachev moves in.
To be fair, though, I mean, Montreal just did probably get a superstar forward.
But who is he going to... Okay, if they trade Galchenyuk,
but I mean,
who is he going to play with?
But superstar in the
Who
sense
is
that
he going to
he
play
might
with?
not need to play with anybody.
Brendan Gallagher is the only one I can think of. That's the only good deal
But
that
he
Bergevin
might be
signed.
in the vein of like a Tyler Seguin who doesn't need to play with anybody.
He plays with Jamie Benn.
Well, I know, but okay.
He plays with someone.
But he
To be a great player, you need to be able to play with someone. I don't think that Patrick Laine...
unless you're Crosby, then you just do it by yourself.
Okay, but I don't think Patrick Laine would be a fantastic center if he didn't have a solid Brian Little or Mark Scheifele to play with. I don't think Austin Matthews would be, a great player if he didn't have great supporting cast around him.
Well, that's
It's
fair.
about the guys you play with. I think Jonathan Drouin can be very good, but he's been okay. He's had a good few seasons around guys like Stamkos, Tyler Johnson, Nikita Kucherov, Alex Killorn. The list is endless, and he's had okay seasons around them. He's got less players around him. Whether that makes him better, we'll see. But I don't think as a winger
They have to
you
shore up
can.
their defense.
I don't think as a winger you can carry a team, and we saw that with Phil Kessel in Toronto. He was a winger; he can't carry the team on his own. You need a solid number one center, and I do not think Drouin is a solid number one center.
Well, Drouin is allegedly a center, but he plays more wing. But I agree with what Dan was saying in terms of, I do understand you, for the most part, you should be playing with someone, but Drouin is the guy on the line that's driving the play forward.
Oh, I understand
He's
that.
like a Patrick
Yeah.
Kane in terms of, he's
But
a
Patrick
winger.
Kane also has had
no,
Panarin.
but he's a winger who drives the play forward.
I understand that, and he's going to
But
have more zone entries than
You
most
know what
guys.
I'm mad about a little bit, or not mad, just upset that I'm not going to get to see it? Every time Drouin slowly started coming around and getting better, Stamkos would get hurt. Or
Yeah.
Stamkos was coming around and Drouin would just get out of there. So
You never got to see
No,
a
never.
healthy Stamkos
Exactly.
with a solid Drouin, which is disappointing because, like I said, who do they have? Who's out there as a number one center that you can sign this summer? Like Joe Thornton? So you're going to get
Or
Joe
it's a
Thornton?
trade. It's going to be either a Joe Thornton or
No, but Joe
Duchesne.
Thornton's a free agent.
Yeah.
So Marleau or Thornton, and I don't think Marleau really plays much center anymore since Thornton got there. So you can get Joe Thornton, who's a little bit older, a little bit slower, who will force Drouin to force the play and make
he's
the
a lot
plays.
older.
I know he's a lot. He's like 2 decades older.
If you
Or-
haven't noticed, Montreal's kind of good at old.
yeah,
He's just pointed
Yeah,
back.
yeah, they're old.
But they were potentially in on Duchesne, no?
So all
Yeah, but they're giving up a center with Galchenyuk when they can just
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
Galchenyuk.
So-
I don't know why they're like, let's replace this nice
I think that
shiny
they're
water
hoping that-
bottle with
with
the-
the same water bottle, but different color.
Oh.
maybe a
that'll
little
work.
bit older with a couple
Maybe
more
it's going to
bumps.
be a 1-for-1.
But who?
Oh God!
don't know.
Oh my God! I
Could
don't
you
get it.
imagine?
There was a rumor
Could you-
today that that the Devils are highly...
Good, because he
Highly
should play
after
on a
him.
team that wants to play that want him to play for them.
Oh,
It
Galchenyuk,
is-
we're talking about.
Yeah, the
It
Devils
is,
are...
it is very clear. Okay,
Pursuing.
fine. If I'm the Devils, I'm starting with Adam Henrique, and I'm saying we'll trade you Adam Henrique for Alex Galchenyuk and take it from there. I wouldn't be surprised if they force in a defenseman, because if you think about it, they lost Emelin, Bilyeu, Sergachev, and Markov's a free agent. They've
That's
lost.
not a big loss.
I know, but they've
Well,
lost.
when
they've
you
lost
Well, I know.
Who's playing D
Sorry,
next
Well,
year?
they've lost the other 3 guys.
They've lost
yeah.
3 roster D from last year and 1 guy that was going to come in. And you're telling me that Jordy Ben, nothing against Jordy Ben, is better than Nathan Bilyeu? No. If I'm Vegas, I'm not going to take Jordy Ben.
Jordy Ben's a bottom pair defenseman.
And Jeff Petrie might be one of the worst contracts in the league. Like, I said it when he was traded there. I said it when he signed the deal. He's not that good. He's not that good. Otherwise, Edmonton would have kept him.
Isn't he making like $5.5? That's great.
Or $5 million. Like, he's making.
That's
about
what a cornerstone defenseman gets paid, guys.
Yeah.
Is he a
Don't you know-
cornerstone
He gets-
defenseman?
he
Of
gets
course
shut-
he is on the Montreal.
Their top line pairing defenseman. This is their top line of pairing defensemen. Petrie and Shea Weber making $12.7 million.
Oh.
Very bad.
12.
Oh.
How much do Muzzin and Doughty make, who are arguably way better?
I don't know.
Less than 10.
You know
Because
what's funny?
Muzzin's on a fucking peach of a deal.
You know what's
I
funny?
think it's less than 10.
Or
Don't
down.
quote me.
You know
But
what's funny? Dustin Byfuglien, Jacob Trouba,
Toby and
Josh Morrissey, and Tyler Myers
Yeah.
make maybe $1.5 million more than that.
well,
No, they do not.
Buff makes 7.5. Trouba makes 2.25, or 3.
Who?
True, but so
Yeah.
they're at 10.
Myers
He's on a
makes
bridge.
yeah.
Myers makes 4, and then Morrissey
14.
makes
Yeah,
8.75.
Oh.
So like
wow.
15 million for
compared
four.
to 12.
Okay,
yeah.
that's what it. Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
saying
what he was
that's
getting
how
at.
bad
No.
that is.
Yeah.
And they're probably, you know what? Who knows? Maybe they'll go. They'll be like, "Hey, Florida, we hear you just lost 2 top 6 forwards. We need a guy like Jason Demers. So let's go get Jason Demers from you for Alex Galchenyuk." It's going to be something stupid like that because let's be honest, he's only going to trade within his division because he has lost his mind.
And guess how much Jason
If-
Demers makes? I'm pretty sure he makes
It's
like
4.5.
4.5 a year.
If I'm a Montreal Canadian fan, I like. Not only are there Montreal Canadian fans that hate the fact that coaches aren't francophone, I would be mad that my GM doesn't know how to run a team properly. That's what I'd be mad about. But moving on from that, there's another GM in the league that's pretty incompetent when we look at it, and his name is Garth Snow. So this is just a few stats for you. Doesn't offer PA Parento contract after career year with Tavares. Offers 7 picks, entire 2012 draft to move up 2 spots for Ryan Murray, which luckily was rejected. Trades Matt Molson along with a 1st and 2nd round pick for Thomas Vanek, who he then trades 47 games later for Sebastian Kohlberg, that all-star.
He offered every pick he had in the draft to move up.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what year was this?
And
That was 2012 when Ryan Murray was picked
and
second.
Columbus didn't take it?
No. There's more.
That's pretty stupid.
There's more.
Reality.
I don't know
So-
if Columbus even protected him.
Okay, remember this.
Maybe they thought he was kidding.
They trades Matt Molson along with a 1st and 2nd round pick for Thomas Vanek, who he then trades 47 games later for Sebastian Kohlberg, that all-star, and a 2nd round pick. Because we all know who Sebastian Kohlberg is. No one knows who he is.
That's not Garcia's fault.
wait for
Vanek
it.
didn't want to play on the crappy ice in Brooklyn.
Okay, wait. Kept Ryan Pollock in minors for way too long, which he did. Solid player. 3 goalie rotation, which was between Grice, Helak, and I think Berube was in there as well. Invest $11 million into the 4th line, which was Casey Zizekias, Matt Martin, and I believe Cal Clutterbuck. Protects Adam Pellich over Calvin DeHaan, and then proceeds to trade a 1st to make sure that Vegas doesn't take a forward. Yeah, that thing. Doesn't pull off trades for Matt Duchene, Evander Kane, Jordan Eberle, and Taylor Hall, but we'll get to Jordan Eberle. Players they were all linked to for 4 years, or for 2 years. Signing Rick DiPietro to a 15-year deal. Has had 15 different starting goalies since 2008. Until recently, he can't draft for the life of him unless the player lands in his lap, a.k.a. John Tavares. 4 playoff appearances in 11 years. Hasn't traded for a player that has positively affected the team since October 4th, 2014. Hasn't made a trade since February 29th, 2016, which is now changed. Traded Nino Niederreiter for Cal Clutterbuck and a 3rd round pick. He has attachment issues, and my phone just closed it. 1 second. And he has bad contract of lack of signing or even pursuing valuable free agents.
Attachment issues?
Which, yeah, like he gets attached to players the same way that the GM Lombardi got attached to players in LA. Until
They're
he
also
made a
paying
deal.
Andrew Ladd like $6.5 million.
Exactly. Well,
Because
that's
he
the
likes going golfing with Andrew. You
bad,
take it back.
Oh, that's the last line. Bad contract / lack of signing or even pursuing valuable free agents. They don't do that. They don't pursue. Like you could have had Kyle Okposo for the same amount or maybe a little bit more. Who's a better player who already knows your system. The other thing. So Garth Snow and Chiarelli pulled off the Jordan Eberle for Ryan Strome trade. 1 for 1. What are our thoughts? Because I have a couple, but I want you guys to go
My
first.
thoughts are, it's a fresh start for both guys. I don't know what else you would have thrown into that deal besides maybe picks like either way. trading off. Personally, Eberle was the last of like that first new breed of Oilers that clearly the current breed with like McDavid, Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, they're ready, they're good to go.
Change it.
Eberle's kind of just the last of the old guard. He's been rumored forever, I'm okay. I'm okay with the 1 for 1.
And I think the fact that I watched most of their 2 rounds in the playoffs, and I forgot he was even on their team at times. Eberle. He was invisible. And I think that right there, they went lightning ball, or whatever the term is. Lightning ball.
Ball.
Yeah.
They kind of clued in and said, we don't need this guy. What can we get for him? And clearly they could get something pretty decent for it.
Yep.
And I think Eberle will be good in New York. I think he'll play with Tavares unless Tavares does not sign, which if he doesn't, that's going to be a whole other interesting scenario. But
Well, it'll be something that we'll be looking at all year.
And we know what was holding Eberle back all these years was he wore number 7 for the Regina Pats. When he went to Edmonton, they're like, no, you can't have that. It's retired.
That's Paul Coffey's number.
Yeah. So he got number 7 back in the Islanders. Hot take, 68 goals next year. Jordan Eberle, Cameron.
Wow,
68
that's a
goals.
bold prediction that you have.
68.
If that happens,
goals.
I will buy you a
Jordan Eberle
Nolan
jersey?
Patrick real $400 jersey.
So,
Done.
quick
Deal.
question.
68 goals. For
Cam, I have one
On
question.
the button. He can't have less or more.
He can have more.
Okay,
I
so
don't care.
Cam, I have a question for
Go.
you. Before we move into the NHL, there's still more trades to get to.
Yep.
But this pertains to Edmonton.
Go.
What picks does Philadelphia have next season? Do they have all their picks?
I think so.
Do they have all their first rounds for the next 4 years?
For the next 4 years? Yes.
Okay. So I'm saying they should do a thing. Because today it came out that Peter Chiarelli, that gem of a GM that he is, that has made some interesting trades over his time, has said that he will match any offer sheet that anyone tries to sign Leon Draisaitl. So this is when I'm Paul Holmgren.
No! We've moved on past
says-
Paul! No!
I'll give him a very nice contract of $9.5 million a season for the next 7 years. Just totally hurt their check. Because let's be honest.
Draisaitl's got to get signed. He's a UFA now?
He's an RFA right now.
RFA.
Because remember what they did?
Oh my god. I do. They burned his contract, and they didn't even let him play in the World Juniors. I remember that.
Yeah, they sent him back in January. The same thing they did to Puljujarvi this year. They've done it twice.
You know what, Edmonton?
They don't care.
Piss off. Stay away from junior players the year they're eligible to play in World Juniors. You're taking talents away from fun. That's it.
From fun.
Fun.
So overall, I think this trade's really good, but I also think it's going to be the end of the Nugent Hopkins era as well, because Ryan Strome can play both wing and center. He came into the league as a centerman, so I wouldn't be surprised if they play experiments on that
I know
side.
what you're thinking. Okay, to decide the winner when Ryan Strome gets there in training camp, they're going to go Greco-Roman wrestle, cover themselves in oil, buck nude. In the nude.
What the fuck do you think about?
And they're gonna fight each other to the death. Winner.
We don't
gets
have
the
time. We don't have
contract on
time.
the team.
We do
Is
not.
it not
have
crazy
time
though
for
that
this. We don't have time for your antics? Okay, we gotta move on.
5 of the first round picks that they've had, out of the 5, 3 of them are gone, and they're a better team than when they had all 5.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right.
That's crazy.
Moving on to the next trade.
Rapid fire trades. Let's
Okay, Brandon Saad and pieces for
What the hell?
Artemi Panarin and
What
pieces.
the hell?
Okay, well, are we going? Okay,
We might as well-
after this one, we're going oldest to
I-
newest because I
I
have
just
I
got
have
an
them
update
in
on my
front of
phone
me.
about this one
Okay,
today.
and then Nicholas
didn't make no
Dromelson
sense.
to the.
Whoa! Here, let's read the whole trade. Chicago receives Brandon Saad, Anton Forsberg, and 2018 fifth round for Artemi Panarin, Tyler Mott, and 2017 sixth round pick. Reason Chicago reacquired Brandon Saad was because they get an additional 2 years. He said
Of contract,
He
and
makes
because
the
John
same
Tavares was
salary.
sawed that he wasn't there.
that's real too.
That is real.
He makes the same salary as Panarin, but he has 2 more years on his contract. Reason behind that being Chicago was sitting there saying in 2 years when Panarin is up, he's going to want more money. We can't afford to give him that. Saad gives them extra 2 years for the same price.
And the other thing too about this deal that I think needs to be there is they can win the Brandon Saad. They need a player like that, and they also said that they felt that they got pushed around by Nashville, who's one of the smallest teams in the league. But they felt they got pushed around by Nashville in that 4-game sweep last year, and really they only have, I think, a 2-year window anyway, or the next 4 years.
Isn't
to
it
win.
ironic that they traded Brandon Saad for cap relief and then they reacquired Brandon Saad for cap relief?
Yeah, that is pretty.
At the same,
The Forsberg thing though is interesting because I think Forsberg could actually be a solid goaltender. We'll see what happens.
The Chicago Blackhawks just run the league, and they actually just have a loan service, they call it now. Oh, real shitty news regarding Chicago. Marian Hossa ruled out for the whole next season, 2017-2018, due to a skin condition that he has been dealing with, but it's getting significantly worse.
That's too bad.
That's too bad. Here's a part about Chicago that you need to think about now. They've got Duncan Keith. They've got Brent Seabrook.
Old.
Johnny Oduya is a free agent.
Yeah.
Brian Campbell's a free agent.
Yep.
They lost Trevor Van Riemsdyk. They've lost Nicholas Charmelson.
Who was traded to Arizona for Laurent Dauphin and Connor Murphy.
So they have Connor Murphy.
Connor Murphy, who's on a contract, like $3.8 million.
What do they do to their D-core? Because their D-core needs some help.
They go and they say, Montreal, which D would you like to give us? Because apparently Marc Bergevin's doing a fire sale on all D.
Oh, speaking of D, Dan Girardi getting bought out? Never saw that coming.
Yeah, but they needed the spot. They needed the spot.
The era of the stay-at-home defenseman.
I just didn't think they'd do it.
Okay, New Jersey acquired Mirko Mueller from San Jose. They also acquired a 17 fifth-round pick for 2017 second pick, 2017 fourth pick.
Fourth round
pick. And then what else we got? I'll just go through here.
The Nick Cousins trade.
Oh, yeah, Nick Cousins. Oh, that was a farther... Greg, what are you doing to me?
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Arizona acquired Nick Cousins and goalie Merrick Madsen, who he looked phenomenal, or he looks great. But then again, they already have Carter Hart coming in. He's back-to-back WHO Goal of the Year. For left wing, Brendan Warren and a 2018 fifth pick.
The other move that Philadelphia did was Braden Shen to... No, you know it. I don't know it.
Okay, well, you're going out of
I'm sorry.
here.
I'm going out of order?
Okay.
You're out of order.
Philadelphia traded to St. Louis Braden Shen for... forward Yuri Laterra, 2017 first-round pick, which turned into Morgan Frost, and a 2018 conditional first round. I don't know the condition yet. The other trades...
And then did they also get the St. Louis GM's car, house, and everything else? He fleeced them, so he might as well have gotten more, right? Did he get his jacket as well?
Ron Hextall is actually... he found out that they were going to the same tailor. Now it's Ron Hextall's tailor. It's not his that GM. Pittsburgh acquired a player we all love watching play.
Okay.
Ryan Reeves.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Oh, you mean the guy they protected? Like St. Louis protected from the draft again?
Wait till you see what they
Winnipeg
gave up for.
guy.
Hold on.
Winnipeg guy.
So Pittsburgh acquired Ryan Reeves and a 2017 second-round pick, 51st overall, and the Blues acquired Oscar Sundqvist and a first-round pick, 31st overall, which turned into Klim Kostin, who still has 2 years left on his KHL
contract.
Good luck getting out of that one. Flyers got out of that one though because they have Hextall. Everyone's scared of Hextall.
So Pittsburgh gave up their first round pick for Ryan Reeves. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's a 31st, but nonetheless.
So they essentially said we won back-to-back cups. We don't need to ever win again. Because now they're saying we need.
Tom Sestito's contract is up. They need a new one.
They need a new guy.
Okay, I'll pause. I like watching Ryan Reeves when he's not playing the Jets or the Flyers or the Leafs.
He's not a bad player.
Great play, great value.
Plays hard. He's not worth a first round.
He's not worth a first or a second or a third or a fourth.
Okay, and now here's another trade. So Arizona acquired Derek Stepan and Antti Ranta, and the Rangers got a 2017 first round pick and defenseman Anthony DeAngelo. Anthony DeAngelo is 22 years old. This is his third franchise. I don't
think he's making it.
Well, I have strong opinions about Anthony DeAngelo because when he was in Sarnia, he got suspended twice for homophobic slurs and racial slurs towards his own teammates. And he's been suspended twice in his career, once in the OHL, once in the AHL, for physical abuse of an official.
That's not.
He's got attitude issues. And
he'll work out great in New York.
So
that's what I said.
So the thing I don't get about this deal is Arizona's made such a push to get younger recently, especially with what they did recently. They let go of Dan Tippett and they let go of Shane Doan. They told Shane Doan they're not going to be re-signing him.
Yep.
So they're moving towards younger players because you.
They got Chalmerson too.
And they got Chalmerson, but you look at their prospect system with guys like Dylan Strome and Brendan Perlini, Jacob Chychrun. Max Domi, Anthony Duclair. Like, they've got a good young core. To bring in a guy like Derek Stepan, who's near his 30s, I don't think helps. If they had gotten a guy like Ryan Strome, maybe, that would have helped.
Though.
But they actually have a very good goalie situation now with
Antti
Ranta, Chad Johnson, and Louis Domingue, where I could see one of those guys getting moved to another team.
Chad Johnson's a free agent, though.
Oh, okay. Maybe a team like... I could see Chicago actually going after Chad Johnson. That's what I was going to say, was I could see them flipping one of them. I think Ranta is going to be their starter.
It's clearly... they're clearly... I don't know if they're 100% going young, but they're clearly...
Changing direction.
They're changing it up.
Well, what I like about it, I understand...
Didn't they just sign Tippett to an extension last year?
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, but management, it comes off the books. To my knowledge, it's like once you cut them, you don't have to pay them out like you normally.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, though.
Gotta keep going here.
Yeah. What I was going to say just about that Derek Stepan, they need someone to, like, you can't just throw the young guys and be like, go have fun, because then it's like you're going to get beat by Vegas.
And
like,
the
it's
Rangers...
New captain, probably.
Yeah.
Ranger-wise, I think they're making room for Kevin Shattenkirk. They're trying to.
Okay, well, they don't really have... They don't have forwards, though. They have Matt Zuccarello. And they lost Oscar Lindbergh. That's what
they
I'm
have
saying.
Rick Nash. Come on.
He's old.
Oh, I can't
Kreider,
wait.
Nash.
Carolina, just from Vegas, this is earlier. Carolina acquired Trevor Van Riemsdyk and a 7th-round pick in 2018. For Vegas, just got a 2nd-round pick.
That's not bad.
By Trevor Van
Like,
Riemsdyk.
no, for, like, you look at Carolina, they might have the best young defensive core. Brett Pesce, Jacob, what's his name? Slavin.
Yeah.
Jacob Slavin from Denver.
Ryan Murphy, Noah Hannafin. Like, they have a really solid young defensive core there. I would not be surprised if Carolina just looks amazing in the next couple years.
Maybe they make a move.
Maybe they make a
Noah
move.
Hannafin to Toronto. Maybe. But
For Jake Gardner?
But we'll find out
That's
why
what
it's not happening in a second.
That's what I did in NHL. But regardless, Noah Hannafin's also left-handed, so it would work great.
Wait, we didn't talk about the NHL awards.
I was going to just mention that.
Go.
So, quick thing. The new jerseys from Adidas came out, so the Las Vegas Golden Knights
I will
released
tweet
them.
a link to all of them.
Las Vegas Golden Knights released their jerseys. What do you think overall of the Adidas jerseys, Dan, from what you saw?
Well, here,
For the most part, there wasn't a lot of change in a lot of the teams. I think Nashville's jerseys are hideous. They
Agreed.
got rid of any bit of flash and snazz that they had to them.
Yeah.
Edmonton, I like the orange and the dark blue. I like
the
it. Colorado, going back to the '90s style, I like that. I was hoping the Jets would do something a little different.
The Wild did something different.
No
Put that
different,
middle
but-
bar, just like what Florida has.
There's only 6 teams who made changes. Colorado, fantastic. Canes, decent. Wild, I like it. Preds, awful.
Yeah.
Devils, minor changes. Sens got worse. Didn't know it could happen.
I didn't know that they even...
The black under their sleeves go right up to the shoulder.
It does not look
Ooh.
good.
But rumor around is because I thought they were going to go with the O Heritage this year.
Yeah.
They're actually planning a major rebrand, allegedly again, for 2 years from now.
Oh, okay.
They're going to probably commit to a new logo. Rumored it's the O. So.
The other thing, too, as well, about all this is Cam said earlier there's going to be no laces on some of the jerseys, but some of the jerseys have laces.
I was wrong, yeah, definitely.
And
but all the laces,
the Leafs,
all
the
the
Leafs
first
jersey
3
still
teams
looks...
I saw. Yeah,
jersey.
And did you guys notice that jersey they have the years of their Stanley Cups in the collar?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. More teams are doing something inside their collars. I got to say, I don't mind Minnesota's rebrand. I like the fact they went back to green, something that's pretty well known for their franchise. So, NHL awards, kind of just going rapid fire here.
Yeah, I'm just going to name a player, and you say all the awards he won.
Oh.
Connor McDavid.
Everything.
Art Ross,
The end.
Ted Lindsay,
Hart.
Okay,
and then the Norris.
was obviously Brett Burns.
Yep.
For best beard. Vezina was Sergei Bobrovsky.
Rocky Richard, Crosby, you already knew that.
Crosby.
Selke. Bergeron. For what, the 4th time?
Yeah.
4th time.
Captain's Award went to Nick Foligno. I think
Foundation, Travis Hamonic,
Travis
and
Hamonic
Foligno. I
and
think
Foligno.
they tied.
And then...
no. Hold on.
1 second. We got Jack Adams Award went to everyone's favorite coach, Torts.
Oh, Bill Masterton.
But before that, GM of the Year
Johnny
went to Dave Poyle.
Dave Poyle in Nashville. Bill Masterton Award.
Went to Jonathan Taves.
No, went
Johnny
to
Hockey.
Craig Anderson.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh,
yeah.
Johnny Hockey was Lady Bing.
Lady Bing.
That's
Craig
right.
Anderson.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's on that.
Oh, man.
What?
Teared up. Did you hear his
Oh, yeah.
acceptance speech?
Oh, yeah.
And cutting to his wife. He's like, it's not me, it's my wife who had
That
me
one
come
was
back.
rough, and
I was like,
that was rough, and the Brian Bickle was.
I will
Yeah.
tweet the Brian Bickle and the jerseys for
Man.
sure so you can see them.
What about... Didn't Jonathan Taves win something?
No.
No.
Oh, I thought he... Okay.
Oh.
but
there's-
what's the one... Oh,
There was
we
a
haven't talked
really
about.
there was a really close vote
Oh yeah.
for Rookie of the
Oh,
Year.
was it? I
How many
believe.
guys have? Wait. Let's just say how many writers have a vote. 167 have. Where you get like a first place, second place, third place, fourth place. I just want to say my player didn't win Rookie of the Year, but someone voted Provorov. The 2 Flyers writers voted him fourth place twice. He was on the ballot. He made it.
The 10 players on the ballot were Braden Point, Ivan Provorov, Sebastian Aho, Matthew Tkachuk, Willie Nylander, Mitch Marner, Matt Murray, Zach Werenski, Patrick Laine, and the winner of the Calder Trophy was Austin Matthews. This is by far one of the strongest rookie classes we've seen in a long time, and I've got a quick theory that I want to get to.
Austin Matthews actually got voted, finished ahead of Ovechkin and Hart vote.
Yeah.
He finished 9th, Ovi finished 10th. But
Which
wait,
he
who
deserved.
won? Do we say who won?
Yeah, Austin Matthews won. He had 164 first place votes out of 167. Only 3 people voted him for second place
Probably
votes.
Winnipeg Raiders.
And then Winnipeg was voted with 3 of them.
So
for
what is
Patrick
confirmed, obviously Austin Matthews is good forever, right?
Yes.
He's better than Laine forever. We
So-
know that. Debate's
He
over.
would have gotten
again.
that many votes no matter how many points he got.
Laine. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
get out of here.
had
Come
40
on.
goals.
Come on.
I'm not,
40.
saying, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but I'm saying
And he didn't have to score empty netters.
He plays for the Leafs.
He scored his last goal.
I know. That's
Empty
the
net.
point.
Number 4 didn't count, so there you go. Empty
He's
net.
still got 39.
Hey, here's the thing. I believe when he played Jets, they collected 3 points. Jets only collected 2. So
I believe Patrick Laine scored him 5-0.
What?
what?
What do you mean?
He had 2.
Like when they played
Oh,
head-to-head?
yeah.
Matthews didn't
Yeah,
score
3
against the Jets.
No, he had 2.
Laine
Yes,
scored
because-
5 times against the Leafs.
Because Matthews only comes to play against big boys, playoff contender teams.
Oh, and
I'm
he
not
he
saying
knew
he
the
didn't
Jets.
deserve it.
How many goals does Patrick Laine have in the playoffs?
I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, and I'm not saying that you didn't think he was going to
Guys,
win it.
Sorry, quick question.
But-
The debate has been ended.
No.
Austin Matthews wins forever, right?
No,
That's,
but
I mean,
here's
don't
my,
stop playing
no,
hockey, everyone.
I have
It's over.
the ultimate trump card.
Go.
How many goals do Winnipeg Jets Atlanta Thrashers players have in Game 6 of a Stanley Cup playoff? Oh,
Finish the sentence.
Game 6.
Oh, I thought you
How many-
said
how many
Stanley
goals?
Cup final. I heard final. I was like, what the
of
hell are
Game
you-
6 of a Stanley Cup playoff game, or of Game 6 in a
You could have
playoff
said
series.
Game 5 if you're being a real.
No, because
the-
Austin Matthews scored in Game 6.
The exact
They
same
haven't-
number of Stanley Cups that the Leafs have won in
Oh
color
my
cable television.
God!
Hey,
that is
you
such
guys-
that is such a cop.
you guys-
That is such a cop.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
wrong.
You're using a crap
No,
argument
it's
against
not
yours,
wrong.
too.
I'm
It's
just
not
being
wrong.
a dick.
I'm gonna
It's
pause.
not wrong.
You guys are just upset that this guy is going to have the Rookie of the Year next year on his team. Now Cammy's in the
Okay,
conversation.
before we get to the entry draft for this year,
Wait,
which
pause
is gonna
before we to finish it up. I'm pausing.
'Kay.
Yeah. I just want to say either way, this obviously we know they love the rivalry because Toronto is first home opener for the Jets is against Toronto.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good. I don't get
Yeah.
to go see it again. Can't wait.
Wednesday, October 4th.
Yep. Go.
So it'll be nationally broadcast. I believe that there is a cycle of NHL talent that comes into this league once every 10 years. And for some reason, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Edmonton Oilers, and the
Chicago. Pittsburgh,
Winnipeg Jets have been blessed with this talent. Think about 2005, 2006. Think about the talent that came in. You had Crosby, Ovechkin, Malkin, 2 centers, and a really strong right winger. What did you have in 2016, 2017? 2 really strong centers, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and a really strong right wing, Patrick Laine. The next generation is here. It was reflected in the NHL 18 cover vote with Connor McDavid getting the cover for NHL 18, and they're also going to promote a lot of more young gun type things. It's going to be
The way they were going with that video package, I thought they were going to have a cover that had like everybody on it,
It would have been really cool.
like
actually.
all the rookies.
Would have been really cool.
Oh,
Okay.
rookie team: Matthews, Laine, Marner, Werenski, Brady Shea, Matt Murray. And just about that commercial, I'll tweet that too because there was one point where it's showing Provorov and someone's going to dangle him, and I'm like, if they show Provorov getting dangled,
And
I will
Provorov
shut
puts
this
his stick
TV
down.
off. He rubs him out.
Oh, and the 5 Jets got all-star team votes.
Yeah, pretty cool. Shifley, Wheeler.
Shifley was 4th among centers.
Yeah.
Wheeler was 5th among right wings.
Did you hear someone
Okay,
gave
regard.
Cam Atkinson a third place vote for center?
Really?
He came third in center voting.
He wasn't a center. He's a winger, isn't he?
Yeah, I know because I follow Columbus
Well,
guys, and I'm like, how did what?
It's the same thing as like Ovechkin gets votes as right wing and left wing. Okay,
Yeah.
moving on to the draft. The first overall pick in this year's entry draft went to the New Jersey Devils, and they picked Nico Hischier.
Yep.
The second overall pick went to the Philadelphia Flyers, and they selected Nolan Patrick.
Sure did.
Third overall pick went to the Dallas Stars, and who did they pick?
Miro Heiskanen. Defenseman.
From Finland.
Could be.
Is he Finnish?
I'm opening it up. I'm pretty sure he's Finnish.
So that's just the top
Finnish.
three. He is Finnish. So
Yep.
overall, pretty much the way you thought the draft was going to go. Like, are you surprised that
It's the way
New
Cam
Jersey
wanted it to go.
Yeah, are you
It's the
surprised
exact
New Jersey
way
went?
I
He sure?
I heard rumors right at the end, like this week, like
Yeah.
a couple days ago, where they were gonna, New Jersey was gonna take a D first overall, and I'm like, I don't know, man, that's a 2-horse race, that's a dangerous gamble.
Oh, okay.
And then when they said New Jersey, like you weren't here when it happened, but
Yeah.
I was with Dan, I was like, yeah, and I stood up and unzipped my coat or my hoodie. I was in a Flyers hoodie. I'm wearing my Wheat King shirt right now.
Nice.
Yes.
So you're happy with Nolan Patrick?
Very happy.
So then the 17th overall pick went to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they picked Timothy Liljegren, who, by the way, there's been a trend among left-handed defensemen the last couple of years. They are projected to go super high and then fall all the way down to 17th. It happened last year with Jacob Chychrun, has now happened with Timothy Liljegren of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I am ecstatic with this pick. When I saw it, I had the flutter hands, like the oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This is the guy going into the draft. I said I would have been okay if they had traded someone like Seth Griffith and moved up to get him. The fact that they didn't have to move up, they didn't have to give anyone up for him, I am so happy. He is a right-handed defenseman, and the fact now that their top 3 right-handed defensemen, take notes, Marc Bergevin, are 24-year-old Nikita Zaitsev, I believe he's 23, Connor Carrick, and now 18-year-old Timothy Liljegren. This is in their system, so I don't think Timothy Liljegren is going to be on the team next year. But their D-core doesn't have anybody. I think Jake Gardner's the oldest at 26 years old. So take notes there, Mr. Marc Bergevin. Just say.
Moment of the draft before I named the Jets pick.
Yeah.
My favorite moment was when Vancouver went up and someone's kid was gonna go make the pick. Gary Bettman was like no, and Heisman'd him out of the way and pushed him back, and then pointed at who made the pick for the Canucks. Someone I think it was Trevor Linden maybe.
It was Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy walked forward and
No,
made the pick.
it was Linden.
Either way, someone
I
walked
don't
forward. They wouldn't let the kid pick. The kid was gonna pick. Everyone was like no, and then.
Yeah, because Gary Bettman can't have
And then
fun.
Gary Bettman's like, no. Except he did fist bump George McPhee on the 3rd pick that they had in the first round because they were tired of shaking at that point. They're like, enough! Pound it, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
loving it. He's loving
Jets
He's
drafted.
just happy that there's a 31st team, so he makes
Jets
him
drafted out of Frölunda, Sweden, left and right winger, so winger. He plays both
He's
positions.
Swedish.
He's Finnish.
He's Finnish.
He plays for Frölunda.
But
That's the team.
he is Finnish.
He is
I
Finnish.
just said from Frölunda out of Sweden. Christian Vesalainen. They
Who
drafted
is
him.
Finnish.
Yes.
Who is Finnish, and how do you
Plays
spell
in a
that?
Swedish league.
Vesalainen. Line is in his name.
What did you just spell?
Vesalainen.
Laine.
I don't know why you're
Yeah.
looking so much into a person's name. Oh my god, he's got the similar name of this.
Because he's leading the future. Chevy knows what to do.
Here's the thing.
Go.
You're leading
I mean, this
You're
is probably
leading
a
this
nice
guy
pick on all
to
these
being
guys.
second place in a Calder vote. That's what you're leading him to.
Yeah.
Not first. You know who wins?
Nolan Patrick wins next year.
That's fine.
Unless
know who
the
wins?
Jets pull,
You know
unless
who wins?
Ricky Bobby comes out. of nowhere.
Centermen win. And the one centerman the Jets drafted didn't win.
Who's the one center?
Mark Scheifele.
Who was he going up against in his year?
He didn't have a good rookie year.
He didn't have a good rookie. He got hurt his rookie year.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
was
the
actually
leg
up
thing.
there. He
The
was
leg
up there.
thing, yeah.
And then the Islanders hurt his dreams.
Yep.
Okay, so we got to wrap up. Probably let's just go, most shocking thing that's happened in the last 2 weeks to you.
Jonathan Drouin. For Sergachev, we'll say that.
The Panarin Saad trade. It makes sense now, but when I read it, I was just mind blown.
Leafs getting Timothy Liljegren. No,
He
I'm
fell
not.
so far.
I'm not saying that's shocking.
He
I'm
was
very
ranked
happy.
third at
I
one
know.
point this year.
I'm extremely ecstatic he's going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. The most shocking thing outside of the Drouin and outside of the Saad to me is Nathan Beaulieu to a division rival for a 3rd round pick. Because if I'm the Winnipeg Jets, I would have thrown something in there and this is my theory. If I'm Cheveldayoff, I am getting Garth Snow on the phone and trying to get Calvin DeHaan or Thomas Hickey to fill up my top 6 for defenseman. Because if your top 6 are Thomas Hickey, Tyler Myers, Dustin Byfuglien, Jacob Trouba, Josh Morrissey, and Toby Enstrom for next season, I don't know if there's a better top 6, especially with filling in guys like Ben Sherrod in there and Nelson Noje.
I think the price is too high though, because I
don't think it is.
was reading today that Travis Hamonic, the asking
two
price
first
was 2 first-round picks.
I understand that, but that's Travis Hamonic. He's a right-handed defenseman. It's a little different for a left-handed defenseman that you don't protect for an expansion draft, and you don't actually put any trades in place.
I think the no-trade clause really hurts them. Because I was reading something with Chevy, and they asked him about the trade that he made with Vegas in the expansion draft. And he said they tried to make the trade bigger. But because of contractual restrictions on Vegas' part, they couldn't.
Well, maybe that's when you make better contracts.
To me, if you want my honest opinion, I think they tried to get Marc-Andre Fleury, and I don't think he would go to Winnipeg. I strongly believe that's what they tried. That's how they tried to make the trade bigger.
So who do they get? Okay,
honest
thought
me.
Here?
That's me reading into it, maybe too much, but to me, that's what it was.
And leave a comment down below if you're still this far in. Who do you think the Jets should go after, goaltender-wise? Let's go around the table. Because I thought it was going to be Antti Raanta, and I thought Marco Dano was going to be one of the pieces going.
Brian Elliott or Steve Mason, unfortunately, are probably going to be one of the two guys that they get.
You already know where I stand on Steve Mason. My answer is Brian Elliott. Please.
Don't
put me through this, Steve Mason. Not again.
And they're going to have to probably overpay to get one of them.
Because the market is fresh.
Market's fresh, and they have to get a guy to come here.
Greg, go. Answer your own question.
Curtis Macklin. No, you know what? Ryan Miller.
Who's a dark horse, too?
Ryan Miller could work.
Dark horse? Eddie Lack.
But that doesn't prove what you need.
Like,
I don't know, but
Cam Ward, I think, would be better for what they need as a goalie. They need somebody who's established to... Like, I like Antoniemi. I think Antoniemi is a good option because even though his price is high, you don't need to sign Ehlers this year until next year. You don't need to sign Laine. Morrissey's next year as well. So that $4.5 million isn't really a big deal on your books this year because you don't need to pay a ton of guys.
I think Laine is getting a contract extension after year 2.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the cap.
Well, no, I know.
The only thing that affects the cap is bonuses.
But next year they have Trouba.
Yeah, they'll probably want to get all of it done in 1 year. But all I'm saying is if they go after Niemi, they have a solid goalie to have more transition with Hellebuck.
Yep.
And I think, to be honest, if Hellebuck goes down, you bring up Eric Comrie and you ride him and see what he can do. And I don't want to see Hellebuck go down. I want them to have an honest outlook. But if Eric Comrie is projecting the way he's projecting, if he becomes their starter, then he becomes their starter. And all projections are showing he's going to be better than Connor Hellebuck. So it's going to be interesting, obviously. Follow along for all the crazy ride that is going to be Free Agent Frenzy, which happens in a week. There's going to be lots more news that happens over this week. So stay tuned to next week's podcast as Last Minute episode 150 is over. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can always email us at lastminutepc@gmail.com. Always hit us up on Twitter at lastminutepc. You can always comment on our YouTube. Just look up Last Man In Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment there. Let us know what you think of the show. And I think we've... and if you want to take the show on the go, because you can't listen to the podcast in YouTube if you're on the go, because you want to be texting your friends, and you can't use it on your phone because you can't have YouTube open at the same time. So go download us at the podcast app, whatever it may be, maybe Google Play or iTunes. Check us out there, Last Minute Podcast. That's how you find us. Thank you for 150 episodes. We hope to do only 35 more.